Welcome to the Glue Pod.
Hosted by Aaron Glukov.
Can we check in?
You kidding me right now? Get on your phone.
Featuring musicians, boxers, and some of the shit.
Community of what's going on. Dude, you asking me? Let's start the show. Can we do this?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Glue Pod, and real excited to have my guy Aaron Lebos here. How you doing, buddy?
Bro, that's the greatest intro music ever.
Digo had a genius creative inspiration. Take one. It wasn't even like I sent a couple guidelines, but he executed it like literally as better than I could have heard it in my head.
It's a work of art. It's a work of art, man.
It's a masterpiece. At some point, you're gonna have to show, like after we wrap, he's got to show you the "Welcome to the Digo Show" bumper.
Oh, nice.
An old school. I don't know what's up for the.
Is that what it's called? A bumper?
You call them a bumper or
learning all these like official terms. The slate,
bumper. Yeah, bumper music. You know, I forget where I even learned that term, but that's what they call it. I guess I don't even know. But before we get started, I just want to say, thanks to everybody who's been listening, and the responses have been good, and I appreciate anybody checking this out. And it's been fun to showcase local guys and kind of get a historical perspective of like the Miami music scene and sort of weird, unique culture down here. That's why I've been so kind of, hopefully not repetitive, but just hitting that with Afro Beta, with Garcia, and now with you guys who've seen this sort of stretch of time to where we are now. And I'm just curious about how it all compares to, and just seeing the trajectory. And so that's why I've kind of been reiterating that, just because, I don't know, would you agree that it's kind of just a very unique, weird, fun town to...
Oh, yeah, man. And like... like what a ride. I mean, like, I guess, any city, that has a history or whatever, with music, it's like, I mean, and everything, everything affects the music, right? Like the situations, I can say drugs, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, for sure. You want me to say drugs? Yeah, I mean, everything. I mean, like the city's history, like everything that like happened to Miami,
Yeah.
You basically could watch like the Billy Corbin, like
Cocaine Cowboys,
and the U,
yeah,
and the music was all getting affected, and that shit too.
Yeah, I identify with Billy in the sense of like, obviously like his platform, and even now with that Instagram handle, Only in Date, just like cueing in on just the uniquely Miami things. Like it's just, I feel the same way about the music scene. It's like all the people I've met. It's awesome because there's this family vibe and there's these hilarious personalities.
Trip.
It's shit. And like, and we're not separated from each other. We all get to like really interact with each other consistently.
That could be something that is maybe, because Miami's a big city, but in the sense that it's not like New York where like players who have big names, they don't even know of each other. You know what I mean? Because it's a really huge scene, and people don't cross over as much. Like here, the musicians cross over a lot, right?
A lot. And I like that too, because I like the genre crossover.
Yeah.
And I think you're an epitome of that too, because you've maintained a really like substantial jazz career in the sense of like you're putting out music, you're starting new bands, you're still nurturing that side of yourself, and the funk and rock and fusion and all that, and like that's not easy to do in other places as well. I feel like you have to kind of,
that's true,
dial in, because you have to weed yourself out of this huge pack. I mean, it's just like adaptive. I mean, unless you become known and you can, I feel like the top guys can be kind of more versatile, but I would imagine it would be really hard to kind of like show up in LA and be like, yeah, I want to play straight ahead jazz and be a session guy.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. And I mean, definitely not really in like, I mean, every city's unique, what I mean? But definitely like not in like New York or like some of the bigger scenes. Maybe in LA, you can kind of do some of that kind of crossover. But yeah, but I think that's also if you're like an established name or something, you know, and you're like, okay, I'm available for gigs or I'm available for sessions, but not
Right.
like, you know, so yeah.
Hey, like Abstract Citizen, I wanted to bring up. Just I feel like it's a good segue talking about the jazz side. Is that project? Can you speak a little bit about that first? Because I want to ask you some questions, but
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's new, man. It's new. It's like I mean, really, probably just the first shows were like the last 5 months or so, you know. And I'm still, you know, going through a lot of kind of. I mean, I'm still forgetting some of the music to be totally honest, you know, because because it's new, and you know, sometimes like with you know, harder music or whatever, it's just, man, it takes a while to get in like the permanent, you know. But yeah, man, it's new. I mean, that's like that is like kind of a conscious like jazz project. You know what I mean? Like it's different from like other projects that I have had or have like Anemoia, you know, or whatever. You know, that's like not in like a forced way, but like in a conscious way that like I don't want to deal with like the stuff like with reality. You know what I mean? Like you know, ALR or whatever, where like I'm at a place playing and I just it's like how to fit in. You know, like I want that to be. And I mean, I love that genre. I love like modern jazz. You know what I mean? And that has vocals in it like most of the time. You know, which is cool also. But we're still really like finding our way. I'm you know, another thing that I learned is that from the beginning, I want to have like 2 people on every instrument. You know what I mean? Like just so that if like, because I mean, I'm sure you know. Well, Lemon City, you guys kind of do some subbing, but you know.
right, you need some guys. People get busy, and
Yeah, of course. I mean, all of us, because we are doing different,
Right.
you know, projects, or you know, a corporate gig comes in for. Can we curse? I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So like, you know, a corporate gig comes in for fucking $600.
right, you got to take it.
You got to take it. You know, 300,
Yeah.
no, but like 600, you know, you gotta do it. So I wanted like from the beginning, I want to establish like a couple people on each instrument, you know, and also it's like it's new music, so it's not like I have a blueprint for how people are supposed to play it.
Is this is like your main jazz project now? Because I know back in the day you had the trio, you were doing more stuff like that. Are you
Right.
kind of done with that, and you feel like you're just going to focus on this and Anemoia and reality, and this is your jazz project, quote unquote?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like it's even kind of like, I mean, to be totally like honest, I feel like it's kind of like this Abstract Citizen and Anamoya, and like, you know, reality, like we have some kind of pop-up shows or whatever, but like I guess, I mean, the truth is I'm not like pushing that as hard, you know. Yeah, just for different reasons, and plus, you know, yeah, it's hard to maintain things for a long time, man. Like I had that project for like 8 or 9 years. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So through a lot of different configurations, you know. So, and like great, you know, like great
Yeah.
times and great like learning and great, you know, experiences. But then, you know, I mean, like a lot of things, they have kind of their life, and then like I started writing music for this, you know, and then Anemoya's, you know, like we're working on a new album. Actually, it's B-Rob's mixing it right now. Go mix. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
You're killing it. So yeah, so that's Abstract Citizen, man. It's like a new, but like jazz, you know.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I really like respect your like discipline in keeping these things going, because I at the end of the day, it's like you can have this inspiration to want to do something, but it is like it's work. It's a discipline. You got to be like not only keeping yourself in shape vocabulary wise in the music yourself,
Right.
but then like forcing yourself to make a group happen and then book it at the same time you're doing another like with Anemoia. So it's dope, man. And I definitely got to make a point to come check you guys out. And you have a
thanks.
new steady at Heartland on Sundays.
Well, Heartland's like kind of a jam. So I mean, it's a different artist every Sunday.
Okay. I didn't know if you guys were doing the house band and then passing off, or no, you're just hosting different people.
Like it's a house band, but like for an artist.
Okay.
And the artist kind of picks his own bass and drummer, and then I play. So we've had like Mark Small, John Cause, and then like we do their original music for the first set.
Yeah.
You know, and then a jam afterwards. So,
Nice.
Yeah. I was actually gonna had Abstract Citizen to play one Sunday for the house band, but I got rained out. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the one thing about. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens with that place in the summer.
With a lot of places,
Yeah.
Oak Garden and Heartland and Center for Subtropical and
Right.
it's gonna be an interesting summer, bro. I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's gonna be hot.
It's gonna be hot. I got the fan in the car. you know?
But I mean, I feel like these places have an incentive to stay open. I mean, everything I feel like especially because of the pandemic, it's like
Right.
nobody's going to be like, oh, it's going to be hot. Let's shut up the shop now.
Right,
and wait
right,
till
right.
It's like,
It's right. It's more of how are they going to deal with the rain cancellations? Because it's going to happen. There's no way around
Right.
it.
oh, of course.
So, I mean, it's a drag, man, a little bit, just because like the last 5 months here, bro, have been like raging, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like a crazy time, dude.
No, it's only been raging here. It's like it's not anywhere else in the world. It's
It just
nuts.
made it like extra raging here,
Yeah.
But then, I mean, these outdoor places, I mean, like the weather's been beautiful. I mean, there've been some like great, like, and like a lot of musicians, some musicians from like other places, right?
Yeah.
I've seen like
Jason
Jason Lidner a
Lidner.
couple times, like just hanging out. I was like, hey, man, how's it going?
And I think he's going to be coming down more often.
Right.
And the more he comes down, more,
Yeah.
ground up, those guys get to have a view.
Have they set a date for?
I don't know.
Big-
That would be awesome. When
'Cause-
was it last year? Was it May or something?
No,
No.
it's always in like February.
Oh, okay.
But then they said this year, they said we're aiming for May or whatever. It would be great if they did like a makeup festival and we didn't have to wait till
Yeah.
next
year.
next year.
Like a fall situation.
Yeah.
That would be sick.
But the thing is, how close can they do it to next year? I feel like whatever, just make it in the summer. We'll all deal with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I want to ask you, because speaking of Anamoya, so you were talking about how you kind of like maybe the reality is going to take that name, but there's a lineage from the reality, and then when Pterodactyl started at Lagniappe, became kind of like, I mean, this is just from my perspective, of like kind of like a feeder, like you were kind of working that now Anemoia, not that they're totally related, but with the rhythm section of Armando and Andres and building that core
and
of course
Pots usually, and Pots usually,
yeah, and I really dig it, man. I think it's like I can see a thread just your language through, but also this is a new thing for you in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way? Do you feel like this is like there's a lineage from the reality and like the Pterodactyl gigs and that type, like getting that set? Did you build that sound through, or was it just completely different?
Well, looking back, I feel like yeah, Anemoia, definitely came some through like reality and came some through like Pterodactyl, and then I mean also it's own thing, like definitely some of like the like especially once Armando and Andres, like when reality started really like playing like as a trio like all the time, like with those guys, it. I don't even know why necessarily, but definitely started taking like a bit more. Well, actually, I do know partly why, because we started playing trio. Even though I've been playing trio some before, like with England and Rodolfo, and when you get to those solo sections where there used to be a keyboard. I mean, I'm going back to when like Jim Gager was in the group, so there's always like two solos, right? There's like keyboard solo and then something, and then like a guitar solo. So then when we hit those keyboard solo sections, like, well, what do we do now? So I had to start like finding ways to keep that, where there's like play rhythm, or then it started moving into like kind of more open. That's probably a lot of like the Armando vibe, right?
Totally, yeah.
Like I started like dialing with him into like some of like, and but also, well, let me finish that thought. Dialing into like the more delays and atmospheric and whatever, but that, I mean, the truth is Anemoia is as much, and I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's ass, but it's the truth. It's as much, which is a cool thing, as it's as much as part of me checking out like a lot and like digging Lemon City and Twin and the Kiff, and to see how all you guys, but especially like Nick and Ascanis, and Jay in Twin, fill up like
Space.
that kind of space. I was like, well, I want to do that, so I can gotta start turn it, and Armando's like always like, you can't have too much reverb and delay for me, you know. Like, I'll tell you when it's too much, and you're never gonna get there.
That's amazing. No, it really is an art. Like, and some of it is adaptive. I feel like, you know, if you're coming from a perspective where, like, you're coming from a bigger rhythm section. Like, for me as a drummer, like, it is really, it's such a different experience, and it's a challenge. I feel like for everybody, I remember like being in the Politics, and it was like there's vocals and it's a 4-piece rhythm section, and you know, it's like you can, and then maybe you add a feature like 2 vocalists or horns. Right. It's like there's so much to like sit on, and so much sound and trio and guitar trio or duo. I mean, it's a whole different. There's so much space to deal with, and like you guys have such a good hookup, you know, with Anemoia that like it never feels empty. And that's like, I feel like that's such a hard thing. Like everyone's always, and you work it through these things like these sonic palettes. You're talking about like delays and reverb, but some of it too, I feel like it's just like how the band plays together, sounding bigger than themselves. Right. Like with Jason, like that took a long time. Like it felt really like it was like such a big, especially because it's duo. It's like the learning curve was so long, but then once the looping and the sound and the sonics, that's when shit really kind of could feel more together live, you know? For sure. Yeah, and like the system, you know, like I mean, the like Anamoya has always been kind of like especially Armando, he's like I you know, the system has to be taken into account if we're going to do like a serious gig, you know, because we kind of need a certain sound for us to to like occupy, you know. But Jay like difference. With Twin is killing and Tenora. So and Frenchie's like a Strymon master. Yeah. Right, dude. Digo? Yeah. Well, and even Digo with the Kiff, like finding ways of filling up space with like the Moog bass and like being able to switch off. Right. Because like there's like a different, there's sort of maybe like a different type of way you can fill up space with like electric bass, traditional like rhythm section playing, and like sub bass or like adding samples, just getting more creative with the textures. You know? Yeah. Actually, on that, Armando's like always telling me, because like when we were recording the last Anemoia album, like if there was a part I was really hesitant to like be like, I mean, I was always like, but how am I going to do that live? He's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry. Like, we'll figure it out like for the show. He's like, you should see the Kiff sessions. Yeah. You know, and then like when they were doing the album, which is actually also a different way for me to do an album. You know, kind of like writing it as you're going, kind of, you know. So, and then, but anyway, he would tell me about like the Kiff and how they had like, you know, a bunch of tracks and keyboards and the basses and shit, and they had to figure out when they started playing those songs live, like how to do it. But you know, for the most part, it's a different thing. You make it happen. That's kind of cool. It is cool, and it is totally different, like, than like the traditional, like, let's write these songs, let's workshop them live, and then go in the studio and just play them down. Right. Which, like, for Lemon City, like, our last record was very much that, and now we're trying to make something that started through the pandemic and being, you know, socially this is before the distancing, just the isolation. Yeah. And trying to still make music and doing the mobile thing, you know, and which everyone was doing for Instagram. We were trying to take it to the next level. Like, okay, and I know Anamoya's probably doing the same thing because Armando's got his rig where he can bounce out tracks and like you start to realize that like, okay, we're actually writing the music still, so it helped me take the pressure off. I don't know if you feel this way, where it's like, you know, I'm going to treat these takes as like demos. And then if I want to go back once more shit is added, especially as like a drummer, like that I can react to and stuff, that's cool too. And like, instead of feeling like, all right, you know, send and like be married to that bounce, because it's like we're not in a room. Right. And we're still writing it. So it's really tricky. But it is cool because it's opening Nick up to like do all these layers and all these things, and we're gonna have, and I'm saying all this to say because like we're gonna have to be like, okay, how the hell are we gonna do this live? Right. And I've even been like, and Brian, you know, he can play anything, so it's like maybe he could just get his guitar out and do some, because it's like some of it's like acoustic guitar with an electric pad. Nice. And you know, so it's like, but it's actually a cool challenge. I feel like you're more likely to end up with an innovative art piece than you would if you do it just your normal way. Right. Yeah, because like by necessity you have to figure different ways to like, you know, switch or like loop or whatever. I mean, I still
like I was saying, like the Anamoya record. This is the first, and I mean we were together. We started having some jams to like get some ideas and whatever, you know. So I feel like kind of 50-50 of it was like written in jams, and then the rest, you know, like in sessions that we would get together and like try different stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I like both approaches. I mean, there is something for sure for like, you know, writing the stuff kind of live and like tightening it up and, you know, working out ideas. So I think they both have
you could
like
go back and forth. Right?
Yeah.
Kind of get it. Yeah.
I think they both kind of have their like, I don't know about pros and cons, but you know, they're good parts, you know.
Yeah, Armando and I were talking a while ago about, he was saying, he's like, man, I'm trying to like demonstrate my own desire to put melody into these songs that we're writing and stuff. And how do you guys collaborate? How do you work that out where you feed each other melodies and stuff?
Well, you know, some of them were definitely written like live. I mean, I guess that's one of the good things about like I need vibe. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to like completely write in the studio or whatever, you know. Like, I like the energy and the air of playing live, and you know, like, you know, the feeling, you know, you're in it and you just kind of come up with shit without really like thinking about it, you know.
Yeah.
I would even say I like live gigs more than even like live jam sessions to write, you know, because you know, you just kind of have the energy, you know, like the flow going. It's not even like an intentional, okay, let's get together and like write.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, but none of them are bad. They all have their things, you know. But so then when we get together after we had like a couple frameworks of ideas, you know, we would all, and with Dre too, you know, the three of us, we'd kind of like see what this section needs, and then, you know, try out some melodies, you know. I mean, that is, you know, a good part about being in the studio and just having like, you're not in a studio, you're at someone's house, right? And you have like no pressure. You can try terrible ideas, you know what I mean?
Right.
And like, and collaborate, which I will say that's something that I really like about Anamoya, because it's the same three guys, this reality,
right?
But I only have like a third of the responsibility rather than like 100% of the responsibility, like in every way, in like booking, I mean, actually like Armando and Dre, but Armando does like a lot, you know, which is appreciated. Yeah,
and maybe it's come also part of it, his desire to be a band leader and all that stuff. I can see that energy in him to, and like he, you know, he's like, you know, he's told me this too, just like another outlet of like compositionally, you play drums different in a different setting, you just do, and like you know, and like there's a different feel when you can play in trio. It's a different type of thing, you know,
for sure.
And like I feel like, you know, when you're like, you know, you're playing drums, like you're trying to like find new ways of being attached to the music that you're making. Sometimes that's why with like Twin, it's such a release for me, because I can get involved with other parts of the music more than maybe like Lemon City, because it's like Brian's playing left hand bass, and he's doing shit that's like, he's not just going, you know, it's like it's a whole thing. And then like Nick and like those guys have a lot of like, you know, I could maybe like throw a counter melody, or I could, you know, there's a lot of compositionally that going on in there. Nick's such a strong writer as it is, and they're sophisticated with shit with like the Twin stuff, and like I can get a little more pop oriented. It helps me kind of get some of the more melodic leanings I have out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that it's awesome. When does that when do you guys have a date for release for the full?
No, but I think we're gonna do through like La Reserve, right? So they'll have kind of a plan for us, I think, if I remember. I mean, like B-Rob's literally mixing like right now, and maybe the first single will be out like in like midsummer, and then you know how they space them, like one single, and then the album. So
sick, man.
Probably somewhere like released, probably I'm guessing like July to November, the whole thing or something like that. So
hell yeah, man.
Yeah, it'd be cool,
exciting,
man. Our second record, and to be totally honest, I mean, I'm sure you get like this too. Like once you know you spend a lot of time on that, like I mean, of course, I want to like hear it and see it come to fruition, but like I'm ready to like get together and play with them and like write some new stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Hell yeah, man.
But Armando's like, now we got to take the pictures first. You know?
Got to get those photo shoots in.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, so I want to bring it back and just get a little of, you know, your feel of just coming up in Miami. You were born here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Born and raised?
Not too far over there.
Boom.
8th Street in Lejeune.
8th Street in Lejeune, man. It's like just coming up in the scene and being young. Like, when did you pick up guitar? How did the whole introduction into it happen?
Yeah, I mean, I did classical piano from when I was like 5, and then like 11, I started playing guitar, right? Just my older brother, you know, played guitar, and it's obviously a lot cooler, you know, when you're a teenager,
Totally.
you know. And then my first like kind of playing outs were with this band that he had that it was a good like rock band like for a good amount of time. It's called The Kind,
Yeah.
right? And he had like, well, it went through different configurations, but Brendan Buckley and Adam Zimmern, who were like kind of well-known like guys here, and this bass player Leo Nombre, they all live in LA now. Anyway, so yeah, like, you know, I started becoming a member of this band that he had with them when I was like maybe 16, you know, and they were all like in their like early 20s, you know, and I was like a fucking pimple face like 16-year-old, like just completely fucking blitzed day and night at that time. And so the first place I played was this place called Washington Square, right? And it's funny because like South Beach had like, I mean, obviously everyone knows this, but South Beach was completely different. This is even before like the DJs kind of took over in like the 90s, right? Like late 80s, you know, they had, man, it was like, I mean, rock, but rock everywhere was bigger then, you know what I mean? So there's like rock places like Washington Square, the Stephen Talk House, the Cactus Cantina, this other place, Rosas, like 4 places, you know, within, and probably more that I don't even know I'm forgetting, within like 3 or 4 blocks of like Washington and like 5th Street.
No way.
Which
man.
like we would
like
never
by like where Jazz it is and everything, or was?
No, more south.
South, okay.
More south. Not all the way to like, you know, Penrod's or Nikki Beach or whatever, but like to like 5th Street. And like we would never go to that area now, you know, like for years. You know what I mean? Never.
Definitely not.
No
South
way.
Point rock scene.
Yeah,
South
man.
Point Park.
Yeah, not so much. Yeah.
That's wild, dude. I didn't even know about those places.
Yeah, man. There's actually on YouTube. There's some like, man, one of my favorites. There's a like a set. It's like 89 or so, or 91. I don't know, but it was before Green Day like got really big, and they played at Washington Square, and it's like such a vibe. Like Trio, like they're murdering also. You know, like even before they got like really big. You know, they're playing at this place, and just like a, you know, people are moshing and these skaters are jumping, you know, on and off, you know, the stage and shit.
That's a trip, man.
It's pretty sick, and they're killing the show. It's just like raw, like punk, you know, pop rock.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, and even I think like Marilyn Manson used to play, but there was like, but some of these places, I mean, they had music like every night, you know, or most nights a week, you know, and they were like rock places, rock. I remember this place, Stephen Talk House, they had like Widespread Panic, like come down, you know, Stephen Talk was like a little bit of a nicer place. They had a really good sound system, you know, and so they would have like local bands on some off nights, and then like, you know, small kind of coming up national acts like on weekends or whatever. So it was cool. It was a different scene. And
then went from like, you went to music, you studied at FIU or, I mean, where?
Then yeah, and then I went to a couple of different schools, and I made my way back to UM.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I didn't live here. I went to UNF in Jacksonville, right? You never finish, is what they say.
Yeah.
You know? So my grandfather says, like, you know why they call it UNF? You never finish.
That's amazing.
And I didn't. Not there, you know.
Yeah. You made your way back down to Miami.
Back to the U.
I forgot that you went to the. I couldn't remember. Oh, I guess it's because I know you and Rodolfo have been playing together so long. I didn't know if that was a.
No, that was more from FIU, because Rodolfo went to FIU.
Right.
I went to FIU like 10 years after UM for like my master's or whatever.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Damn, I forgot you had a master's.
I mean, the only reason I took it is because I got the TA ship or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
and I still even almost like flunked out. You know
Are
what I
you
mean?
doing TA still?
No. I was teaching a little bit of Dade.
Yeah.
And then at the beginning of the pandemic, like the like the director of their whatever, you know, the guy who runs that program, this guy Mike DeLito, is like a sweetheart. He's the coolest guy. But the like head lady, man, it's like the first 2 weeks of the pandemic, and she was like yelling at me on the phone. I said, you know what, I'm bye bye. I mean, I'm not a teacher, bro. I'm a player. What do you want me to say?
Yeah.
Like,
gotta call up Matt Schofield. He'd have to go in with you on that. He's like, I'm not a teacher.
Is that what he says?
No, I mean, I identify that like if you really just want to play, and it's your heart's not in it.
Yeah,
it can be really hard to like keep it going.
For sure.
You know, I think some people have like, you know, you could. Yeah, you have to have some kind of desire, right? Or else it's just a burnout.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
And I was just teaching like 1 or 2 days a week, like for a couple hours, like during the day. But, you know, man, it's like, I mean, time is precious, bro. You know, like I was like, yeah, it's a little side money, but, you know, I mean, like that's one like daytime a week that
totally.
Like I could be fucking working on music or something. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Dude, and I've noticed... Oh, actually, but I don't want to get sidetracked. I wanted okay. So when you graduated did you right away start kind of playing in the jazz scene, or what was going on, like down here back then? Who were you first kind of playing with? I mean, I know, Eric England and you have a strong connection from back then, and just like I remember being a kid and coming up and trying to play with you guys, and like that was like. You know what I'm saying? Like 8 years ago, just being like garbage, just being like holding on for dear life, and like like those were like formative years playing with you guys trio at like Red Koi and shit, like
Red Koi,
the sushi place.
Oh yeah, that's
or
right.
just whatever random little gigs.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Eric, 'cause I'm trying to think how. I mean, he's a decent amount younger than me. I think like maybe like 4 or 5 years. So we were spaced. I didn't really start playing with him until like a good amount like after I graduated. Like when I graduated I was playing with this like it's like hip hop kind of jazz band called the Square Egg, right? It's
I
funny.
like that name.
Yeah, it was cool. It was fun. I was like, because I like, you know, thought I was like super cool playing like hip hop jazz. You know what I mean? It's like we're gonna be like us, the Roots or Us Three or something, you know?
Yeah.
But also at that time, then I started like kind of getting into like some of the, like the top 40, but top 40 was different then, man. So Jazzed, right? You mentioned Jazzed.
Yeah.
Jazzed, when I first started playing there, and I know this was like this, like before, like Swenelo and those bands kind of it became you know like that, which was cool too, man. It was like a like nice place that had like top. It was like a.
That is hard to imagine.
It's hard to imagine, man. I mean, like candles on the tables, like upscale and like upscale like Europeans, upscale black people like would go there, you know. And they had top 40 bands like with like Siegel and Stanley and Kurt Green. But man, the top 40 bands were slamming back then, you know. Like we made all these arrangements, you know, and like. We took solos like live, but like there's no tracks. You know what I mean? Like it was like they were.
What was the repertoire? I mean, was it?
No, the same shit.
Same shit. Okay.
Same shit.
Yeah.
And you know some of the disco and some of the Sweet Thing and all this stuff, but it wasn't.
The corporate structure hadn't.
It was
come
not
into
there.
place.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And also like any thought of tracks or like stuff like that, they were like top 40 bands, but that's how top 40 bands were back then, you know. Like people played, you know what I mean.
Totally.
So it was fun, man. I mean, I remember like some of those gigs and some of those bands, even like I would go to see like this guitar player Mark Strawbridge and RJ, right. Like a bunch. I mean, just picture Siegel like in a top 40 band. You know what I mean? It's like the funnest thing ever.
Dude, I've played some top 40 gigs with him, and it is like, whew,
man,
it's incredible. It's like
he's one of the funnest people you want to have on like any gig.
Yeah,
like he'll kill it, and he's funny as shit.
He's hilarious, dude. He's just such a legendary character. Actually, I played a gig with him at Jazzed. one of the last times I ever played there years ago, and I had food. I was sick. I ate some like pizza from across the street.
Oh, okay.
You know, that classic Washington Ave like pizza is like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
worst
Yeah.
by the slice pizza of all time.
For sure.
And whatever, and Dave was just like, so, you know, he was like being a mother. He was like, man, it's gonna be okay, man. And I'm like on the corner, I'm like, dude, I think I'm gonna throw up. He's I'm gonna get you some Tums, man. and then dude, in the gig, the band was me, Tony Alarcon was leading it.
Okay. Okay.
Dude,
Need not say more.
Dave Siegel and Kurt Green, man.
Yeah.
And Kurt Green had like a Phil Collins headset. For
Yeah,
like,
bro.
Dude, it was so funny. And like when we played the gig, and it's just like it was just such a that place, man, was just such a freaking trip. And like I thought it was the coolest thing. Like it becomes not cool as you get older and the thing got died, but it was fun as hell. Like
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
just that area got too shitty.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, also worth noting that like some of those singers, the band leaders, were killers, man. Like Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte. I can't think of her name. Charlotte. Everyone knows Charlotte. Donna Allen. Donna Allen's been
I know that name. I just
beast of a vocalist.
Yeah.
She's like a a sideman or side woman to like Gloria and a bunch of pop stuff. But man, she was probably one of the best pure vocalists. You know, Lauren Carter. You know,
yeah.
like
Lauren's
a bunch.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
That
bunch
whole
of those.
family is like
For sure.
sick.
Yeah.
Doug and yeah, man. So I mean, but at that time, like, was there venues that bands could like come up and kind of workshop these original projects?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like Washington Square.
Yeah.
You know, like Senior Frogs on the Beach had a crazy Monday night, 3 bands every Monday night, and like
What was the pay like then? Like, was this like ticket? Like I remember back like Churchill's used to do like sell the freaking red ticket. Like you'd have to like. Oh, were these guaranteed yet, or was it like?
Maybe at some of them, maybe some of them not. But that was the deal back then. You know,
Right.
that was you know different. I don't know. I didn't think much. I mean, well, with jazz, you know, that was guaranteed, of course.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But like some of these more rock places, you know,
It's a different thing with like like real band.
right. Like some of these
pay to
places,
play.
some of these places like the Square, they would have like 4 bands a night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean, and you look at like Rockwood and stuff in New York, it's still that way. It's kind of more, and it's funny because like that's how I remember hearing like interviews of like Incubus and shit, how they came up, and like that's how they came up. Like that was the, you know, I mean, obviously it's a different genre.
yeah.
But it is really interesting. You know, we were talking about, you know, Anamoya and Pterodactyl. Like Lanyap is such a feeder home for us to like create these like without Lanyap like at that time, and like the fact that you could get paid and create something.
Yeah,
and,
that's
like it was like
that's
because
pretty
there
rare.
wouldn't be a Lemon City Trio without that. I mean, that was the
Right.
place where I feel like I've met other bands where like from New York or wherever that they find these like homes that they can really workshop the band, because it's so hard to like get there otherwise. I feel like nowadays.
Yeah, it's important. It's not the same just like rehearsing. You know.
No.
I mean, I feel the same way about reality with like Pax and Van Dyke.
Right.
You know, those were like first gigs, like, you know, and then became, you know, like a vibe, and then people would come, and, you know, so
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, you know, right now is a little bit of a weird time, obviously, because of COVID, but, you know, those places will come back, or, you know, or they might even be there, and, you know, we don't know 100%, you know, like all the places, because there might be some, you know, some new like breeding ground, you know. Well,
and like I was thinking, I've always been missing Las Rosas during this time, because that place is like a freaking gem in the sense that it has both elements. It has like we can control a pay scale reasonably. We can throw a fat like proper show that would normally be this whole like pay to play situation. I mean, that used to be the thing. Like, you buy a reel of tickets and you sell them, you know. And it's like you kind of have that vibe there, this big room, and I just can't wait. I mean, obviously Anamoya, man. Like when we did that twin show, and like Anamoya, like, that was a sick night, bro. Sick, man. That place is the shit. I just, you know, I've been talking about this a few other episodes with people about like, as much as I love these places like Lanyap or Heartland, where there's it's a cushy gig. It's like the clientele is very like different than a place where you're doing a show.
Yeah.
And it still feels like, even though Heartland feels like a show too because it's on a stage, but it still feels like a gig in some sense. Whereas like there's only a few venues left because back it was the stage we had and like what we'll call, and I feel like Las Rosas it hasn't. It's not as easy for our groups to get in there as consistently, but that's like the only thing like that here still.
Yeah, there might be. Man,
Oak Garden, of course. I mean, that's becoming
the
spot.
But
that's
but,
like
proper.
even
man, like that. I mean, that's part of the reason. Like, I like kind of being in touch with like the younger generation,
right?
Because they're coming up and they're not so worried about like, does this gig pay 150? You know what I mean? And they're playing at sketchy places, but that's some of the shit, man.
But that's all I've always dug that about you. You've always been about like getting with the like trying out like playing with new young whatever guys coming out of you like whatever and being really invested in staying, like that
fresh,
fresh. It's important. I mean, I feel like, it's like if you really want to keep being an art. It is it's part of the whole thing, and you pass down like for someone like myself who like felt like in the early times when I was playing gigs with you I was on this like edge, like I wasn't at that level where it was like you know what I'm talking about. And it's like you getting that opportunity to like but getting that opportunity to like learn. It's like important. You don't have that.
It goes both ways, man. For sure. It's like the man. Like there's a couple of dudes that I'm super into like what they're doing, man. Like Diego Melgar, I mean, and the whole crew, and Tim Watson, dudes. These are like and Jordan Ratner. Yeah. They're
he's bad, man.
They're all great players, and man, they're which is how I want to, I mean, that's a different life shit. It becomes progressively kind of harder, as you get more like responsibility and shit. But it's not impossible. You know what I mean? It takes more effort. Yeah. Because your life is not. It's not when you're 23, and you don't have shit. You know what I mean? And, you got.
Damn it! I should have worked harder at 23. Fuck.
Nah, kidding. You gotta enjoy it. But it
does go fast though, man.
It does, bro.
Shit.
It does. But we got plenty of time.
I feel like I keep myself youthful at the boxing gym. Like I love going and like sparring like these like up at like these like 19, 18, 17-year-olds. These guys are so fast and young and like talented and shit. And like I'm like I feel like such an old guy in this thing, but I'm like this is great for me, man. This is like keeping me. And I don't get an opportunity to like. I don't feel like an elder of musician. I still feel like I'm a baby. I'm still like so like student. But when I'm at the freaking sparring with a 18-year-old.
Well, that's different because that's pure. I mean, not pure, but that's physical.
It's physical, right?
We're musical,
right.
But even physical, it's probably like good for you, man. To like and like musically, it's great for you because it gets you your mind more open, because we all gravitate toward like shit that we like, but. I don't know, man. I always, it's funny. I always like in my like 20s, I always was like, man, I just like, I'm never going to be like the dude that like moves to Broward and like has a kid and then.
and just plays.
And just plays like top 40 gigs or like whatever, I live in Broward a little bit, even though we're trying to move back here because I'm fucking here every day, And
dude, you got to move back here, dude.
I know, man. It's expensive, bro, but. We're trying, but
I mean,
but either way, I mean, I drive down as much as I need,
Yeah.
So I would just like to drive less. But I mean, man, I'm here every day, And
I mean, you got to make those. I felt the same like moving out to Kendall with my girlfriend. Like, I was like, I'm not gonna move to Kendall. That's the one place I want to be. And it's like, but you work out the financials and you see what you actually want. It's like, okay, now I'm just driving a shitload more.
Right.
But that's the sacrifice to like. Live in the place you want with the person you want. And
It just
and you have your father now is there's you have extra incentive to make that sacrifice.
Yeah, and you just have to balance. I mean, like I said, I think you can still be part of the scene. You can still invent, but it takes more effort when you're when you're a little displaced from it, or it takes more effort when you have more responsibilities. Whatever. But I
really feel like sobriety's on your side in this case, especially, man.
Probably, yeah. Because if not, I'd be destroyed by now.
Dude, I mean, it just to have that energy. I mean, that extra energy. It's got to be. It's you know.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing.
And look at you look great.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for fucking 3 glasses of water already, you know? But that for sure is a difference, because like if you're fucking, you know, 25 and you know you go to sleep after a gig, you know, at fucking 3-4 and
Right.
you crush some late night cazolas, you know, and you wake up at 11, it's fine, you know what I mean?
Right.
But like if you try to do that shit, which sometimes I do go to sleep at fucking 2 or 3 because it's a gig or whatever, but like when I have to get up at fucking 7:30, bro, like to get my kid up and shit like that like I cannot be hungover or fucked up. You know what I mean? Like it would just won't last.
And you're making extra drives, and you're operating these bands, and you're a Miami-based musician.
Yeah.
So and you need that extra pop, man. You need that extra.
You need all the. Extra
I'm gonna be like you when I grow up one day. I've had my I've had my moments where I've cleaned up my act, and then you know.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's not a straight line.
What's that? No pun intended. What's that movie quote? It took you a second to get that.
It did.
That was the most delayed reaction. Wow.
But that's how far removed I am from that. You know what I mean?
No, but what's that movie quote? Is it the fucking Godfather? They keep pulling me back in.
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, okay. So I want to moving on. I've been noticing from your Instagram how much studio I meant to text you that how much studio work you've been getting. Has this just been out of the pandemic? Have you always been making this many tracks, man?
No, like I mean, maybe like 10 years ago I had like a home setup and I did like some shit, not like that much, but I, I did some, and then like I guess in like the prime years of reality, I was just like so consumed or whatever, that. And I didn't have much interest. And then Armando actually talked like right before pandemic. He's like, dude, just fucking get an Apollo, like get a twin, because I was like, man, it's like miking the amp and like all this shit, and which I do, but I was like, I just don't want to I just don't want it to be complicated, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe do a couple of sessions or whatever, and then I got it, and then obviously like I've learned how to make a small rig, but like better sounds, and whether it's plugins or getting like a good amp to mic that's small and quiet, and I can record at 3 a.m.
Right.
And Logic, like I mean, for me, like Logic's just way easier than Pro Tools. He's like, dude, to get it so intuitive, and I didn't really know what he meant, but I still barely know shit, and I can.
It's amazing that you've come to this so recently, and seems like you're doing so many different artists shit like
so just like in the last, so really, but luckily I got it in quarantine, because the
right.
I mean, we've been open for a while here, but like the first months of quarantine, like there wasn't shit going on. I was like, well, I'm gonna record for fun. I'm gonna record for people, like for like get paid sessions. So yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's
and do you feel like, have you been, because I've gotten a bunch of stuff through Instagram, do you feel like, is that you have a huge following? I mean, you got like 4,000 followers. That's pretty good. I mean, so I was just wondering, does that help you get
bots?
Does that get you more work? People DM you and
maybe a little bit. I think it's more that people become aware that like you're doing that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because you post on your story, and then someone's like, "Oh, I want guitars."
Yeah, and then maybe 3 months later, they have or something. So yeah, definitely. I mean, look, like people really know what people are doing from social media right now, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
yeah,
right?
Totally.
But I mean, if you didn't,
it's like a double-sided thing.
Yeah, it is kind of necessary. Maybe there's a few holdouts, but I mean, everybody does it.
No, but you're doing really well. I feel like, it's not easy to even break past that 2K mark on Instagram and stuff. I feel like. I
guess so. I mean, I'm not up to
you're
where
famous.
The famous are the people on like the search page,
Yeah.
But I don't have the right moves for that shit, bro.
Dude.
I don't have all the sexy things. I just have the meat and bones.
It's killing though, man. It's funny because I started getting some more work like that throughout the pandemic, and then it's like immediately as gigs come back, it kind of goes by the wayside. But you
have to balance.
You want to balance. I would love to get more opportunities to do that kind of stuff, and I think the social media and putting your videos of yourself recording and showing the rig is as like maybe self-aggrandizing as it can seem, or just weird sometimes. You're like, here's me with Logic, like whatever.
Yeah.
But then someone inevitably DMs you, like, dude, I need drums on this track. It's a good way to remind people.
That's what it is.
And it's like
well, how would they know you otherwise? Like nowadays, I mean,
they won't.
They won't.
You know.
I mean, yeah, word of mouth. If you're like really established, like nationally, like someone like, but you know, even like someone like Mark Lettieri, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like in the pandemic, he's, you know, probably even more than usual. But he's always been like a session guy. I mean, he's fucking great. But you know, I can tell that even some days, like when he's not doing a session for someone, he's like kind of showing, you know, his killingness at, you know, recording and, you know, playing and, you know, so
absolutely.
I feel like no one is above it, you know.
Dude, I know we gotta get you out of here soon too. So I wanna this is a lot. I wanna do a little and put you on the spot here.
Oh shit, bro!
This is gonna be a quick game.
Are we singing?
We're not singing.
All right.
No.
Polyrhythms?
No, you would crush me in
No, I wouldn't, bro.
polyrhythms,
No,
dude.
Armando would crush
He
me.
would
and
definitely.
Dre. And Dre.
Those guys are like, they're okay. Before you get me sidetracked, top 5 records. All genres.
Only 5?
Only 5.
Okay. Kareem Zaid Ifrika, right? One of the Rage Against the Machine's first one or second one. People, yeah. Fuck. It's so because I know I'm gonna forget. Like, and I'll be like, no, that should have been 4.
Oh, you're doing these in order too.
No.
Okay, no. I was gonna say that's not part of the.
Now I'm just thinking of like great albums, but like I'm like I know I have. I mean, probably like Kurt Rosenwinkel, like The Next Step or something like that. That's like when like first time I heard it, I remember I was like taken and just consumed, you know.
Special cat,
special record, special sound, special texture, you know, special, yeah. Fuck. Oh man. I did a list the other day and now I can't think of any of them. I had like 10. Man, maybe like Houses of the Holy, like Zeppelin, you know. Fuck. Well, I'm gonna go. There's like this WC record. It's called Images, right?
Yeah.
Or that's like a whole. I don't know, because classical music's weird because like it wasn't like they put it out. You know, it's like people doing different compilations.
Of course.
But like some like WC like solo piano record. It's like Images. It's like feels like time is shifting when I
love
listen
that
to it,
stuff,
you know?
dude.
Yeah, it's killing.
WC Chopin.
But like solo piano. I don't know. That's just, you know. Is your girl into like
yeah, I mean
that shit?
Yeah, she's really into the fantasy. I don't know, one of the genres that. So
Okay.
I forget what the official. There's like it's like fantasy. So I think that is fantastic or something.
Okay.
Maybe I'm picking the wrong word, but yeah, WC Chopin. She's all over that stuff and like listens to solo piano and also like, you know, symphony music and stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, the first time I saw her play, she was doing a like super. It's like a prepared piano piece, and it was like scratching the piano things.
Oh,
and
nice.
I was like, damn, I wasn't expecting that.
You're like, yeah, that's my girl.
Yeah.
It's like if you would have just played it too straight, then no.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, and also fucking, I mean, Pink Floyd, Animals, Hendrix Band of Gypsies, fucking Chili Peppers, Blood, Sex, Sugar, Magic, whatever that one. I don't know. There's a couple.
That's a good list.
Yeah.
Dude, this has been great. I want to get, after you guys get your album out or maybe the first single or whatever, we should get the whole crew in here, Anamoya,
man.
and just talk shit.
That'd be great, bro.
Yeah.
Killing.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for doing
Man,
this.
thank you, bro. You're the man, man.
You're the man.
I'm following you, bro.
Quadruple A.
Quadruple A in the house,
Yeah.
man. We can kick your ass, play jazz and funk.
There you go. That'll be my new Instagram info.
Yeah. Whatever you need, I got you.
Appreciate
It
you,
shows a
man.
boxing glove and drumsticks. Boxing glove with drumsticks.
Dude, Digo made the music. Adrian made the cover. I'm gonna show you for the glue pod.
Oh,
It's
let me see,
hilarious.
let me see,
It
yeah.
looks good.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
Pleasure.
Thank you. That's a wrap.
Peace.